In the fall of 2016, two influential men in Los Angeles faced money troubles. The head of the LA office of the U.S. Secret Service, Lorenzo Robert Savage III, thought he was being shortchanged in a lawsuit over a defective braking system in his family's Volkswagen minivan. Always get a Dodge Grand Caravan or a Honda.
I didn't know Volkswagen made minivans.
Mm-hmm. They do. And Tom Girardi,
I think.
Yeah. Tom Girardi, then at the height of his power, was borrowing heavily to fund his law firm and increasingly upset about the size of his wife's American Express bill.
Yeah.
To address
Glam.
the Glam Squad. Well, this has so much to do with glam, you guys. This is directly tied to Erika's glam.
To glam. Oh my God.
To address their respective problems, Savage and Girardi and their spouses turned to each other. Girardi agreed to represent Savage and his wife for free in a bid to extract a larger cash settlement in the minivan case. And when his efforts failed, Girardi dug into his own pocket to pay the Savage family about $7,500.
Weird.
For the minivan shit?
For the minivan shit.
Weird. Okay.
So, not in the financial win they thought they would be, Erika Jayne then approaches Girardi and his Fed bro Savage, claiming a fraudulent overcharge for custom costumes, on her American Express card to the tune of almost $1 million.
Custom costumes.
Yep.
For her pop star career.
Correct.
Yeah.
This was like pre-Housewives, so it was 100% for her Erika Jayne persona that she was having these.
Housewives?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That she first, that like this litigation started was like right before Housewives, I guess, before she was on Housewives. This was an opportunity for Girardi to get a big refund at the same time that he was starting to swim in debt. Mm-hmm. And Savage owed him a favor for representing him for free and shelling out his own cash to cover his loss from the minivan thing. So they went balls deep on this investigation.
To American Express saying that this $1 million charge is fraudulent. I want to be reimbursed.
And she was, to be clear, American Express did like reimburse pony up for some of the charges, and they weren't even really going after American Express because American Express had already done their part, and now they're going after the designer.
Oh, okay.
What was the fraud? Who committed fraud?
We will get to it.
Okay.
It's all in the story.
Tell us everything first.
I'm trying.
I don't want to hear the information in order. I want it all first.
It didn't seem like it was in order. That's why I was confused.
The story, but all the information first, and nothing should be before one another. I want it all at the same time simultaneously. Simulcast the information into my brain. Thank you.
So their bestie Lorenzo, the Secret Service guy, starts digging into costume shop owner and designer Christopher Sala. Quote, at the time, Sala and his business partner, designer Marco Morante, were creating a name for themselves in the fashion industry, making couture pieces for stars like Britney Spears, Mariah Carey, Cardi B, and contestants on RuPaul's Drag Race.
You can picture the kind of costumes that they were making.
I bet they were fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm. Lots of sparkle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Christopher had started designing pieces for Erika in 2014. So their relationship and like the issues with some of the charges started before she was on Housewives. Mm-hmm. But he was continuing to design for her after she joined Housewives and had a much bigger platform. Mm. And I think this is when she like really went hard on the, oh, he owes me money or he overcharged me part of it. Okay. So the two operated on kind of like a friendly, I scratch your back, I'll post on Instagram, you scratch mine kind of handshake agreement on payments and invoicing. And he, you know,
Tough
they were
when you're talking about $1 million.
Yeah, but that number is also shady as hell.
Okay.
So this is like the beginning, still growth of his business. He's trying to get his business off the ground, and she is being tapped for Housewives. So he's like, this works for me. This is my stuff is going to be in front of like millions of people. She absolutely took advantage of the fact that he was eager to get his designs out there. Even before she was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but she was doing shows in front of large audiences, and she's married to this very powerful man. Mm-hmm. So, like...
Who's a fucking lawyer. She can do whatever she wants.
Exactly. Quote, Sayla said she accounted for roughly between 20 and 30% of his business. And he does
Holy
shit for,
fucking
like...
shit.
He's doing shit for Cardi B and, like...
She spent so much money.
So, my God, you guys, I don't know if we'll ever know exactly how much. It's so much.
Just even watching Real Housewives, you're just like, what? When they went to, were they in Hong Kong?
So, yeah.
She brought a team of like 8
In a
with
private
her
jet.
In a private jet. Had like 6 different looks per day.
Yep, to do her makeup and dress her all day.
Multiple times a day. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
It's
An
nuts.
addiction.
And that was just
absolutely.
like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. However, the lack of a full and detailed paper trail at the time blew up in his face when the Secret Service got involved because of Lorenzo. So there's a quote from LA Mag. According to a federal indictment, Jayne told the agents that she had given the company access to her American Express credit card. So, like, they weren't even invoicing her. She was like, here's my card number.
Yeah.
Make whatever and just charge it. For custom costumes that she wore during her singing appearances. She did not keep or review invoices, she said. The design duo, quote, knowingly and with the intent to defraud, caused charges to be made on victim E.G., Erika Girardi's Amex credit card without victim E.G.'s authorization. So that's what she's claiming.
Mm-hmm. I feel like your authorization is giving them your credit card.
I mean,
just
pretty
being
much.
like,
Yeah,
But
but
also
like
if they
buying,
can't-
like she's alleging that they like bought materials that weren't for her
Or used for
costumes
her.
or
And if
whatever.
they can't back up all of the things they invoiced her or charged her for, then yeah, they are stealing from her.
keep
Right.
your receipts, people.
Yeah, exactly. So Erika goes crying to Tom and Lorenzo, saying she was way overcharged and cheated out of a bunch of money. And Lorenzo is like, I got you, fam. Let me get my team involved. Thank you for helping me with that minivan situation.
Thanks for that $7,500. And
Yeah,
she's like,
saved
what?
my life. She's like,
What? I've never heard of such a small amount of money. Was that for eyelashes?
what?
7,500?
Oh,
Yeah.
Part of that involvement
Cute.
was wiring up Erika Jayne and sending her to the shop to confront Christopher about the overcharges.
Oh my God.
The recorded conversation, which I couldn't find a transcript of, did catch Christopher admitting to an overcharge. And I'm unsure the amount he may have fessed up to in that conversation, but it certainly was not the amount that she was claiming. This was enough evidence for the Secret Service to conduct a raid on his business, though. So during this raid, he presented invoices that he had given to Erika Jayne, and these invoices did indeed indicate about a $100,000 discrepancy or overcharge that at the time he believed to be an accounting mistake, and the accountant in question was later absolved of any wrongdoing. But Erika insisted that the amount was far greater. Quote, there's $1 million, well, 800, 900,000, well, whatever, of my husband Tom Girardi's money that is gone, she alleged.
And he confronted the burglar.
Yeah, and his car rolled
She
behind.
literally confronted the burglar.
She confronted the burglar. The investigation culminated in a 9-count indictment of aggravated identity theft, wire fraud, and use of an unauthorized access device against Sayla.
Oh, I guess California is an all parties consent state.
Maybe.
Is it? Oh.
Let me look it up.
No, I don't think it is, because she was wearing a wire and he
I
No,
actually
I know, but
think it
you
is
can-
an all parties consent state.
Yeah.
must be. But since it was the
Recorded him
government,
illegally.
she didn't record him illegally. She was wired up by the Secret Service.
If you have a court order,
Yeah, so she
it
was
might
legally
be
allowed
different.
to wear a
California
wire.
is an all party consent state.
Yeah, just because Lorenzo works for the Secret Service doesn't mean that he whatever. We don't know.
No, we do know. This case was legitimate.
Oh,
they
okay.
had enough evidence to open it. And because
Okay.
he works for the Secret Service, it was just his team that was working
it.
on this case. And this was
in
all,
the van.
yeah, this was all done through legitimate government means.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's not like where her fuck up was at all.
Okay.
So this designer is now looking at several years of time in federal prison.
Oh my God.
And once again from LA Mag, Sayla denied the charges to authorities, but by the time he went before a judge, the damage was done. His brother, Jonathan Sayla, and his husband, David Lewis, so not his brother's husband, but
His own
husband. Each put up $50,000 to bail him out of federal detention because he was held on a $100,000 bail. He was remanded to the state of California, except for a brief vacation that he had planned to Maine that August.
I missed a half day of skiing.
It was a half day of skiing. Selah had to surrender his passport and submit to drug testing. This just reminds me, like, I feel bad for him because he was definitely fucking used and played in this situation, and we'll get to it. But that little detail, I was like, oh my God, all these fucking privileged as fuck people. And I know I'm privileged too, but like, this is beyond.
But I have a vacation plan.
I have a vacation.
We
It
go to
reminds
Maine
me-
every year.
Do either of you
For
watch?
the lobster.
Do either of you watch Teen Mom?
Yes.
Okay, you know when Janelle like was first had to go to prison and she was like, okay, but I can't go because I have tickets to Kesha. It's like more than just a concert. Like it's Kesha. Like she's my idol.
Her lawyer was like,
I can't tell a judge that you want to delay your prison time because you have to go to Kesha. Like I'm not telling him that.
she was like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not going. I
bought
Kesha
an
tickets.
outfit for it. It's iconic and it's all over TikTok. I'll send it to you. It's
so
fucking amazing. So I had this trip planned to Maine, but they let you go on it, dude. So it's fine. So this case absolutely drags at this point, and poor Christopher's brother even dies while he awaits trial.
He never got his 50 grand back.
Well, we kind of get to that. Oh. And the prosecution continues to gather evidence. Quote, the government sought multiple continuances in the case as they struggled to gather evidence, which prosecutors were forced to admit was lacking. Meanwhile, Erika begins filming for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and her more recent seasons, the news drops of Girardi's many fraud and theft accusations. Mm-hmm. In an episode that aired May 26th, 2021, the gals were playing a game of two truths and a lie. When it came to Erika's turn, she included the statement, quote, I wore a wire and was witness in a government case.
I remember that.
This is what she was talking about.
Oh, so it wasn't against Tom.
No, it was against her former costume designer.
Yes.
Later saying in that same episode that I shared too much. And that was not a lie. She did share too much.
I loved it. I ate it up.
It was amazing. And it bit her in the ass, because after the episode aired, fans and litigators alike were very curious about the comment, and they all took to Twitter, like you always do. Everyone assumed that she was referencing the over $101 million in debts that Girardi owed and is being taken to task for. But folks were shook to discover that this was not a related case or like directly related. I have theories on this, and we'll get to those too. Attorney Ronald Richards, who is working on the Girardi case for the prosecution, had inside connections to this case, this costumer case, and spilled some piping hot tea. This is from Reality Blurb, LOL. My sources will always be the best sources of all time. From September 30th, 2021, quote, after being alerted to past footage of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Ronald revealed on Twitter that the case involving Erika wearing a wire was dismissed this week, so the week of September 30th, 2021, before sharing details about the case on a podcast. He also confirmed this federal case was unrelated to the separate ongoing legal scandal involving Erika's estranged husband, Thomas Girardi. He said, quote, this is unrelated to any legal matter that we are counsel for. This is the clip that triggered our review of this matter. So like he got word that she said this on the air.
Yeah.
And was like, what the fuck? We're already looking into this guy. Do we also need to look into her shit?
Right.
So they're digging around and they find this and they're like, oh, this is not related. Oh, and also it just got tossed out this week. So I guess whatever. So, If this was true, we had some concerns, he said. We will now share. Ronald told his online audience on September 30th, along with a clip from the season 11 scene of the show. After the statement was shared, Ronald, who was hired to investigate Erika's finances as part of the Tom Girardi bankruptcy, because
I'd say so
much money was being funneled into her business, appeared on the Up and Adam podcast where he explained details of the case, saying it involved about $700,000 and was ultimately dismissed. She wore a wire, he said. She cooperated in the case where she contended that she was a victim of some sort of credit card offense. According to Robert, someone faced legal charges, and that's the designer, Selah. and could have spent years behind bars due to statements Erika made in the credit card fraud case. However, he felt that the whole thing was mixed up because the credit card in question belonged to Tom's law firm and wasn't even Erika's personal card.
Oh my
shit.
God.
Yup.
Oh, shit.
Yup.
You'd think that would be something they'd check.
Yup. Which is
Holy
probably part of
shit.
why they dismissed the case.
Yeah.
But what's wild and honestly super satisfying is that the case was ultimately dismissed not because of a lack of evidence. They could have kept going on what little bit they had.
It was way juicier evidence in a bigger case.
Well,
bigger fish to fry.
Not even that though. There was very little to support the size of the overcharge that she was claiming. But because Erika Jayne was such an unreliable witness and an absolute legal liability, they dropped
on a reality show.
They dropped everything. Yes. And there's all these articles that are with all these legal experts being like, why the fuck is she filming and talking about this case? She shouldn't be talking about any of her legal matters publicly at all.
Right.
I don't know what
Zip
lawyer she has.
Zip
Yeah,
it.
ew, it zips. Ew, it won't zip.
She won't zip.
So Robert says she didn't falsely
She's just
accuse.
too real, you guys. She's just too authentically
She's
Erika
so authentic.
Jayne.
Yeah, she can't change herself.
To a fucking fault.
To a fault.
Criminal fault.
She didn't falsely accuse anybody, Ronald clarified. There were all sorts of issues, whether her assistant authorized the charges or whatever. It's just that she had a relationship with the merchant. The government made their own decision, but it would go down to her credibility. I believe the reason why the charges were dismissed is because she would not be a credible witness and there would be a lot of impeachment material to go after. I think she's probably relieved that she doesn't have to be subject to cross-examination.
Yeah, imagine if okay. Isn't there something called discovery where you can basically access other information about a person, private, subpoena other documents that are unrelated to one case if you have them in a different case? You know what I'm saying?
That's not what discovery is, and it depends. The judge might accept it or not.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that this was Tom's company Amex is probably included in the mountain of debts, that he owes, but now it's not, it has nothing to do with this designer. Whether this designer overcharged her or not is neither here nor there now because the whole case is just moot.
But what I'm saying is imagine that this case against the designer had gone forward and then they had subpoenaed her text messages and whatever. And then it was, evidence of these other crimes was found there kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a process for all kinds of shit like that. But I'm not a lawyer, so I don't fucking know. So as for Sela, he got the news that his case was abruptly being dismissed without prejudice on September 28th, 2021. The $50,000 that his husband had put up for bail was returned, and the strict conditions of his release were, lifted. So he could get his passport back and he didn't have to be drug tested.
He wanted. You didn't have to ask.
Yep, exactly. I'm personally hoping that the $50K that his now deceased brother put in was returned to his brother's family, but I couldn't find anything about that. So, and I mean, I could see the government being like, well, he's dead. We don't have to do anything about that. Sorry.
Right.
We're going to keep that money.
Well,
So-
if his bail was set at $100,000, they only needed to actually pay $10,000 in total. But you need to promise 50.
And he didn't violate any conditions of his bail. So hopefully, that was returned.
Yeah. Well, yeah, either way, they just split it and put up
Yeah.
the money. And different states, I think, also have different rules about that. You could put down 10%, but then that's through a bonds.
That's
like
what
a bond.
That's what bond is.
Yeah,
It's
so then it's a
10%.
loan essentially with a bunch of interest and
Right.
all kinds of shit. So a lot of people just don't want to fucking go there.
Correct. But if you follow through with the terms of your bail, you get
Right.
that money back.
Right. So basically all of this shit is a nice way of saying that while yes, there were issues with billing by the costumer, Erika, likely encouraged by a desperate Tom Girardi, jumped on this opportunity to take legal action and recoup some funds that he was drowning in debts. And now that we know that it was actually his company card
Right.
and not even her card at all, of course he's going to want
Right.
to call his buddy in the Secret Service.
But it ended up shooting himself in the foot. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And granted, $800,000 would have been a mere drop in the pond of what Girardi owes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, as to why Erika felt the need to discuss this unrelated ongoing case from years prior is anybody's guess. But my theory is that she wanted to legitimize herself as a victim ahead of the bigger news that would be dropping during her season.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like, I think she made that comment before the dismissal without prejudice of this specific fraud case.
Yeah.
So I think she was laying the foundation to be like, someone stole from me, blah, blah, blah. I'm a victim.
Or at the time that she said that, she didn't know or wasn't smart enough to put together how it could paint her in a bad light in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It's also just conspicuous consumption to be able to say, like, I didn't notice that someone billed me an extra $1 million for all my custom costumes. Why do I need custom costumes? For my pop career. Have you heard my hit single, blah, blah, blah? You know, like,
It's
that I
expensive
funded
to be
100% myself. They are
I
bangers, though.
Can't help but rock out when I hear that song. Anyway, Erika bit back at Ronald Richards, calling him a, quote, clown-ass lawyer for taking to Twitter and podcasted the Bravosphere with his analysis of her behavior and her lack of credibility. His response was flawless. He said, quote, "It is unfortunate that there is no client control, which has resulted in more profane and tone-deaf posts, which now are apparently directed at myself and my hardworking team. We cannot help but point out the irony that she previously complained about comments made about her. However, now in a
she did it first.
Yeah.
Everyone is the same.
Seriously.
None of you are better than the other.
No. However, now in a transparent attempt to deflect scrutiny from the source of her mass amounts of capital she is spending, she has now resorted to weaponizing her vast platform to hurl low-blow insults and mean tweets." It's such a good response. And he took the opportunity to remind his audience and hers, who were closely watching, that she, quote, is liable for the money that was advanced by the firm on her behalf. Meaning it's irrelevant if she didn't know that $25 million funneled into her business were embezzled funds. It's still her business, and she will still be held responsible for returning those funds.
Yeah, she still spent that money.
Yep. So like I said earlier, I'll probably do the full story on the Girardi Keese law firm allegations.
I thought you were saying the Girardi case, but in a really weird
Girardi Keese.
I'll probably do the Girardi case another time. But
the Girardi Keese case. But
I thought you were too.
No, it's his law firm is Girardi Keese.
Maybe on a
Keese. But there's just so much to unpack there. We do not even have time to begin to go there today. So I just focus on Erika, Jayne, weren't aware.
This guy cheated me while I was embezzling money from plane crash victims.
Yeah, from orphans.
So who's the real victim here?
Right? And I won't give back those earrings. Quit asking me.
Those were my earrings. I've had them for years.
Anyway,
Well
that's
done.
my case.
God, what a fucking episode.
Well, I sure hope you liked that clip. If you did like that clip, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a nice review, and joining us on Patreon for even more video content, audio content, salacious content all around. Come join us. Treat yourself.